spent the first summer getting to know Kentucky. And we went to see my old Kentucky home and the show down in Bardstown during that time, and passed by this mysterious looking place called Bernheim Forest on the way home over to the newly completed segment of the expressway.
About what year was that?
And that would have been, we moved here in 1966. Therefore, this was the summer of 1966. My involvement developed because of my interest in nature and the out of doors and in the budding conservation movement. I ended up being the third president of the newly formed Louisville Audubon Society. And Bernheim, several years later, a couple of years later, got to be, it was a large foundation, and there were tax questions raised by the government as to whether or not a foundation was a public foundation or a private one. And in order to be defined as a public foundation, there were certain requirements. And one of our longtime board members who had known me through the Louisville Audubon Society, of which I was currently president, came up with the idea of naming 3 people to be ex officio members of the board at Bernheim. One was the governor, one was the Secretary of Natural Resources, and the third one was the the president of the Louisville Audubon Society, of which I happened to be the one at the time. A longtime trustee whose name was Jim Henning passed away. And at the time, typically speaking, the only way that anyone left the board at Bernheim was feet first. And that meant that Jim Henning left an open slot on the board, and the board decided that they would name someone who was currently interested in promoting conservation, and I was, having done volunteer work at Bernheim, even as a trustee, they asked me to come on as a permanent trustee. And then as the years passed by, I continued to serve faithfully and worked up in the organization, progressively serving as faithfully as possible until I became president of the board.